Well, we're back at it tonight, going to see if we can complete this new line run. But last night I kept thinking about the fact that I was really having a hard time even getting the 2 lines in that conduit. And I don't know where I got the idea that 1/2-inch conduit was going to be fine for more than 2 10-gauge lines. And if I really crammed it in there, maybe I could have gotten 4 in there. But I just didn't like it. So we're going to go through and tear out the 1/2-inch liquid tight, and we are going to replace it with our tried and true 1-inch ENT conduit. So I ran to the store, picked up a 10-foot section, and I have a few pieces left from when we were working on the AC lines for the inverter. So we're going to go through, pull all that stuff out, and while it's still daylight outside, we'll go through and remove that junction box that I had added outside, and we will have to add some conduit onto the back of that. And what my plan is, and I'll show you when we get there, but I'm going to stub out a section of 1-inch hard conduit off the back of the junction box, and then put a, let's see here, a 1-inch female coupler to 1-inch threaded male connector. No. A 1-inch, let me see here, a 1-inch female coupler to a 1-inch threaded female. And then I will use a threaded ENT connector to thread into that, and then that'll connect my ENT to it. The only concern that I have is it's not technically a watertight connection on the back of the junction box, but I will add some extra caulking around to make a nice tight seal right where I'm having the hard conduit connect into the back of the box. All right, we're out by the air conditioner. You can see the junction box that Ian and I mounted. We'll have to go and remove that, cut all the caulking around the outside, and then see about making the hole bigger and feeding the conduit in. We'll have to check the hole in the back of the junction box. Lots to do. So first off, let's get this thing removed. Most of it hasn't cured yet. Look at that. Pull all that out, and we'll have to clean all this caulking off of this. Almost. So when I go outside, I'll put a bead of caulk around the outside here so that that's nice and tight. Alright, so we'll end up going like that, and then over to ENT. And I know some of you are going to be saying, Adam, what are you doing this for? You can just put your ENT right in the box. Yeah, but it's not as watertight. Water could get in here a whole lot easier. So if I glue these connections here, and I caulk this connection here, that should make it watertight. And then this here is completely inside the building. So then I just connect into here, no problem. So that's the way I'll go, just to make things a whole lot easier on me. I mean, I guess it's not easier, but it helps me ensure a less likelihood of water getting inside this box. So all my holes were drilled for the 1/2-inch liquid tight. And you can see my attempt to try to drill a larger one. It just looks crummy. I learned a little trick from another YouTube channel. I think it's Ambition Strikes, homesteading channel. And I'm sure I might have heard this before, I just forgot all about it, but you take a core from your hole saw, from the smaller hole, and put it in the larger hole saw, and then get it in the hole just to get it started. And then it'll help guide your bit right through instead of having it jump around like what you see right there. And then that gets it started for your next hole. Here we go, no wires nicked. We did start poking through on the opposite side, but that's okay. We're inside. And the other thing about this, because this conduit, this C connector is a thicker wall, it doesn't actually lock in place, which is kind of nice, especially for what I'm working on in here, because it allows me to be able to disconnect this if I need to. I tell you what, if you do not have a step bit connector, you need to get one. This thing goes from 1/4 inch all the way to 1 3/8. And I've used this on metal, plastic, wood. Works awesome. The other thing that I couldn't have done with this project without is this 90 for my drill, because the cavities were too big for my long drill. But I was able to put this 90 on and it worked great. So full disclosure, I did not hit anything in all my holes. I didn't hit anything on this side, I didn't hit this pipe, but unfortunately I was not so lucky on this side. I don't know if it'll focus or not. Right there. There we go, right there, I nicked it. So I will need to keep an eye on that. And I might have to be fixing a plumbing pipe here shortly. Let's see, what size fitting are we gonna need? I think I had to get the big one. Where is it? Oh, there it is. 1 3/4. I think it will just barely fit. All right. And this hole I don't have a plug for. Bummer. All right, I'm gonna go get that hole drilled and I'll be right back. All right, boy, if you could just smell what it smells like down here. I think that last bit that I used burned through more wood than anything. Okay, so let's fit this. Let's not make a mess. This stuff always makes a mess. And I know I don't need to prime it, but I'm just so used to priming when I do plumbing. That's why I do it anyways. Okay. Finger's gonna be purple for a while. Set the primer off to the side. Alright, there's the glue. So let's while we're waiting on that to dry, we're going to get a little dab of this. I know it's going to squish out all over the place, but just get a dab of this to hopefully help seal, keep any water out. And again, I'll be coming in from the inside cavity and either caulking or spray foaming as well, just to completely seal around this, but at least this will help a little bit. I was looking for a gasket that I could use, but I couldn't find the right size. While that dries, we will just put this right in here. Try and hold that end right in place. Okay, and then yeah, when that caulk all dries up, that should be nice and tight. And then we'll add our, I don't even remember what this is called, but designed to keep wires from chafing right around the edge. Some kind of bushing, I think. Hopefully this glue is still usable. Oh, thank you, Lord. Okay. This doesn't have to be perfect. Again, it's just trying to keep water out of the box. Got a nice goober right in there. Maybe I should have just put the cement right around the edge instead of the caulk. That stuff's drying real fast. Okay. And then I'm just going to screw this on. All right. Let's take this puppy outside, get it mounted, caulk again around the outside, feed it through the hole, and then we will almost be back to where we ended last night. Oy. Touch the glue. Always touch the glue. What a mess. Yeah, don't judge my caulk job. I like caulking as much as I like drywalling. Big fat zilch. So I will come back through and clean it up later. Put the faceplate on top. And then we go inside, run the wire into the conduit, and then call it a night. I'm not even going to bother terminating tonight. But if I can get the wire into the conduit here, coming out the end, I'll at least have one step ahead of where I was last night. All right, there's our conduit. Just wrap the insulation around it for now. And again, I'll come in from the back side and spray foam or do something just to seal it all the way. Well, ladies and gents, look at this. Almost perfect. And we are hooked in over here. Sweet. So I just have to trim a little bit off of this, little at a time. That earthquake that you're hearing, if you can hear it on the camera, which I'm assuming you can, is Ian playing with the kittens. Start small. Start small. Come on. Oh, can't get it in there with one hand. Set you down. All right. Got that in there. Goes across over to here. And then outside while it converts to the rigid conduit, or the hard conduit, and then goes to outside and is glued into that box. All right, let's go outside and see if it's through. All right, let's take a look. Sweet. So we got plenty of line here. And the way I'm gonna feed this is I'm gonna actually hook these first two up in the back. So every next set will just come to the front because it'll be a whole lot easier to work with. There, that's a whole lot easier to see. So yeah, this set will be the back two connectors, and I'm gonna try and feed, if possible, a second set to come into here, but this front set will not be used right now. Well, and what should have been a one-night job turned into what's going to be a three-night job. Got to plan ahead. Just another example of me trying to rush and get things done. But having the 1-inch conduit, it's going to give me plenty of room for my 3 connectors along the bottom for having 3 different strings. I will have 2 strings run to start, and I will have space for the third for the future. But even right now, unless I hook up one of my Victron charge controllers, I don't have any space in my inverters to be able to run additional string. But I wanted to plan for the future. So yes, again, ignore the caulk job, but you can see here I've got 3 different sets of MC4 connectors. The middle one faces out this way so that I can easily disconnect it. The front and the back face towards the front. So, and this box is plenty deep and fixed. So I'm happy with it. It's out of the way. Should be nice and watertight. Shouldn't have any water problems. And then literally it's it's very close to where I'm going to be putting at least 1 or 2 strings. So, all right, with that, I'm gonna call it tonight. It's getting close to dinner time. We will catch up with y'all later. All right, ended up having a little bit of extra time because my wife had to work on a cake for a customer. So I got the end terminated. I will pull a little bit of this line back through the conduit just so there's not so much in here, but I should be able to get the other end terminated and hooked up so that tomorrow when the sun comes out I can lay out some solar panels along the fence line, run a cable to connect to the bottom, and actually get it hooked in. Got the new line hooked into the breaker. I know I need to fix them, they're not level. It's kind of driving me nuts. But that'll be another project for another night. So this breaker is already hooked up to PV2 into my phase 2 inverter. And following the line, it goes up into that conduit. The conduit goes up and over this trunk into this C connector, which then goes across this 1-inch conduit and goes outside into that junction box. So come tomorrow, I'll be able to lay out a few new panels, lean them up against the fence, and see what kind of power we get out of them. Have a good night. I'll see y'all in the morning. All right, good morning, everybody. It is a beautiful but brisk Wednesday morning. You see all the colors. I just got done taking care of the ducks and the horses. And I also went through and stood up 6 of my remaining 100-watt solar panels. And I ran a wire temporarily. I need to get it all trimmed out still, and I need to add actual mounts for these panels, and lots still to do for a permanent basis, but at least this way I can get some power out of them instead of them just sitting on a pallet not doing anything for me. So these are 100-watt Renogy panels. .3 volts open circuit, 5.86 amps short circuit. So my plan is to put the 2 strings of 600 watts in parallel, giving me roughly 11 amps and 120 volts. So for the time being, I put this Y connector here, and I ran the wires. Like I said, they're not trimmed to length or anything. They're just laying on the ground. They're not in. I'm gonna end up putting some conduit down to protect the wires from the lawnmower, weed whacker, sun, foot traffic, all that stuff. So yeah, my negative is really long compared to my positive. My positive just barely reaches. But first thing we're gonna do is we're going to test voltage before we go plugging anything in. See if I can do this one-handed. Yeah, not easy to do one-handed. All right, 121 volts. Okay. And sorry for the noise, the furnace just kicked on right next to me. Now I know why people have these cameras mounted to hats. Alright. And this circuit breaker is not turned on yet, so that we can test the voltage from the inside as well. All right, got those hooked up. Like I said, just the wires just kind of along the ground right now. Nothing pretty. And then 6 panels. So I'm gonna take care of the duck eggs that I picked up this morning. Take off my muck boots and I'll see you inside. All right, we're back inside. We will grab our voltmeter again for good measure and check polarity on our string. Nope. I do that all the time. It helps to have it on DC. And my polarity is reversed. Well, that's annoying. All right, well, for the time being, and no, this is not going to stay this way because it's going to end up actually driving me nuts having it look like this. But I'm gonna switch these here, and then tomorrow I will switch them outside at the junction box. All right, I got them switched around. I want you guys to pay attention to these lines, and if you see that after this next video, if I haven't switched them, I want you to call me out on it. All right, so we turned our meter back on. Yeah, this color's gonna just drive me nuts, so it shouldn't be a problem with me remembering. All right, 122.9 volts, positive polarity. And here we go. And you could see under inverter number 1, PV voltage 2 is now 90 volts. As it tries to let the MPPT do its work. 90 volts, 89.9 volts with 22 watts of power coming in. All right, folks, I'm gonna call it. It's been, what, almost 2.5 days trying to get this project done, and it's been a pain from running the wrong size conduit to having to drill holes out using a hole saw that had already had holes drilled, to now wiring my polarity backwards. All right, but we got the junction box out there. We got the 1-inch conduit mounted. We got the new line run down here to the breaker, and it's hooked into the panel, so at least I can get an extra potential for 600 watts coming in for solar. Especially since today and tomorrow are supposed to be very nice days. I would love to be able to recharge and add that back. I'm also going to look maybe around lunchtime and see if I can add the last 6 panels, maybe lean them up against the house, and drape some more lines out just to get that last 600 producing some power as well. So with that, I'm gonna let y'all go. I have had half a sip of coffee so far, and I can hear that cup calling me. So y'all have a great day, and we'll catch up with you later.